What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Black Belt Business Podcast. I'm your host, Elliot Marshall, and it is my goal with each episode of this podcast to share the stories, strategies, tactics, tools, and resources that will help you establish or grow your martial arts school. The Black Belt Business Podcast is brought to you by Easton.Online. You can find all of our digital courses, martial arts curriculums, and resources designed to help you enhance your business at Easton.Online. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode, Easton.Online. We got the two amigos wearing the same shirt. Mike and Ian run the company, make everything happen for the rest of us. That's a lie. We all make everything happen. Yeah. We have a great staff and everything. So, you guys know how it is. We've been doing this for a while, the three of us. We're gonna go a little bit of a different route with the podcast here, a little bit, in the sense of we're gonna do a little bit shorter episodes, right? And we're gonna try to stick to a topic, right? We're gonna try to stick to one topic. We're gonna keep it 20 to 30 minutes so we can deliver really good information, really good content, and you guys really get something out of it. So this is mostly our fault because I think part of it is we're such good friends that we can just like ramble and rant. So we're trying not to do that moving forward. So here we go. Our topic for today is your close ratios and how do you keep them high? Okay. It's a tough thing, right? It's a really tough thing because they go up, they go down, they go all over the place. And it comes into the two stages, right? Of one, setting the appointments well, getting the person into the school, and then two, selling well, right? And this is how you keep close ratios high, right? Those are the two things that go into it. Where I wanted to start with this is I think sometimes at our schools, somebody will need a job or blah, 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 and we'll just like put any rando in the position to be at the front desk. So we, in every position through Easton, we like to use this thing called the GWC. They get it, want it, capacity for it. Mike, can you just go into explaining a little bit how we approach GWC, what GWC is, and all of that? So go ahead.
I will do my best. So there's a system called EOS, which is the entrepreneurial tracking system or operating system. And there's a great book called Traction by Gino Wickman. And this book I read back in maybe 2018. And there's a whole series of books in regard to how to, implement this system. And the idea behind it is kind of we've all heard about meetings and emails and systems and processes and standard operating procedures and blah, 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 blah. Communication, one-on-one, performance reviews. And we've heard that kind of out in the world. And I don't think there is a better book that's done this. Like the Rockefeller habits are pretty good, but I think Traction does it the best and they make it the best to implement. So from that being said, one of their big things when it comes to people management is this thing called GWC. And use that along with your core values. So GWC is get it, want a capacity for it. And the idea is you can we don't want to rank people as human beings, but when you're in a business, you have to create some labels and categorization so you can best manage individuals. So when you're looking at them, there's this great sheet you can use. You can also just use your head, but you rate them on the core values, right? Like where they're at. Everybody has to be 100% of the core values or they shouldn't be on the team. That always makes the first part easy. So once you get through that process, the next step is get it, want it, capacity for it, GWC. Now, does the person get it? Do they want the job? And do they have the capacity for it? These three things are key, and some are easier to fix than others or easier to improve upon. If they want it, that's great. If they don't want it, then there's no point in keeping them, right? Because if they don't want the job, they're not going to do it even if they have the capacity to do the job or they get the job. If they don't want it, you're putting the wrong person in the wrong seat. Little Jim Collins there, right?
So that's what this is all about. It's putting the right person in the right seat.
Exactly. It's just an easier way to look at Jim Collins' idea of, good to great type business stuff. It just kind of clarifies it and gives you basic data to help you make a decision versus making it less ethereal. So if they don't want it, then you can't have it. There's no point. If they don't have the capacity for it, this is a tough one because they think they get the job, not often. They want the job so bad, but they just don't have the capacity to do it. And that doesn't mean they're dumb. It just means it's not the right area. So, for example, Ian over here always uses this as a great one. Ian is not going to be a rocket scientist or a nuclear physicist because math isn't his thing. He may want to be one so bad, you know what I mean? But he doesn't have the capacity to put that kind of work into the math and think that way. He may, but this is what he thinks. So he doesn't. So he can't be put in that role, right? So if you're putting someone in the front desk position to sell, if they don't have the capacity to really understand what that means, like how to sell a program, how to like deal with the nuances of social conversations and understanding the person, it's much harder to keep them in that role if they don't have the capacity. You all get this, right? It's like trying to put me as a fucking defensive lineman in the NFL. I don't have the capacity for it, even if I get the job and want it. I can't be a defensive
You're even
lineman.
athletic enough. You're strong. You just don't have the size.
Yeah, I don't have the size.
You do not have the capacity.
I can't be an NBA player.
Right.
You know, you physical or intellectual, right?
Right.
But there are other things that I can fit in. So if they don't have the capacity, it makes clear sense. If they don't want it, don't put them there, regardless of getting capacity. And that's a tough one when you see somebody that's totally will get the job. They're really high capacity. You put them in the role because they have all those things. But if they don't want it, they'll fuck up the job the most. So you can't put them there. And then the get it is the hardest one to deal with, right? Because like that sucks. Because like, man, they want it. They really want the job. They have the capacity for it, but they just can't figure out how to do it. Like this is that smart person that has the values, really wants to get after it, but they just can't get it. That being said, they can be trained on it, right? Like usually if they don't get it, they need some realignment, they need some work. So sometimes you can save those not getting it person.
Ian, would you say that in this GWC area, the get it is where we can do the training? The wanting it and the capacity for it is kind of hard, right? Like, wouldn't you say like you're running and dealing with more people than Mike and I deal with, maybe on this front line aspect?
Yeah, I want to defend myself about the rocket scientist thing. No, I'm just kidding. I could not be a rocket scientist. Yeah, the get it is the one that really is coachable.
Right.
So that the reason I think Mike kind of said it's the hardest, it's because it's the one that, whereas when you're a mentor or you're a coach, this is the place where you can in a way fail, right? It's like, and this is where I think being a better coach and being a good mentor becomes really important, because we need to take accountability in being able to show people how, basically how to get it.
Right.
And that can, so I think one of the things too that's important about GWC for me is it really brings clarity to assessing someone's ability to do a role. But like Mike said, it makes it easier to put the right person in the right seat. I think if you're doing this job correctly, you really should care about the people that you're employing. And whenever you start to have, and you have a personal relationship and you start to care for somebody, it can start to cloud your judgment and your ability to see things clearly. And GWC is just a great way to bring clarity to the assessment of someone's ability to do a role. And then to really not only bring clarity to whether they can do it, but to bring clarity to your approach and how you can better coach someone to thriving in the role. So capacity and the want it are sort of out of bounds. Like you're not going to make a huge. You can't
make headway.
Yeah, you can't make headway there, but you can. This is being you can definitely help people understand the role, and that's going to be key.
Got it. After this, it comes down to two things with the front desk. You have to set up the right systems, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And then you have to train. You have to drill it and train it and role play and drill it and train it again. And this is something that, like, look, we've been doing. I don't think we've changed the sales process much, like big changes to it over the last 5-6 years. But God, we have to keep coming back to it. We have to keep coming back to it. So super important in this training aspect. Now, look, this next part is where I see, especially working with a lot of Easton.Online clients, where people really drop the ball is understanding that, like, you have to track the stages of a lead in multiple ways. And most people just track from how many leads did I get and how many closes did I get. Okay. And they just look at that number and they think that is decent. It might be decent, but it doesn't give you enough information. And we call it the 4 stages of a lead, right? How many leads are you getting? This doesn't, how many leads are you getting doesn't really have much to do with your sales process and your closing ratio, other than the fact that you need to be getting the right leads and the right amount of leads, right? But that's more marketing. We'll go into that on a different podcast, right? The next stage is how many appointments are you setting? You have to be tracking that, right? Like if I'm getting 100 leads, man, we like to drop about 20% at each stage. I should be setting 80 appointments. And then of those 80 appointments, we're in the 65 to 70 range of how many of those appointments show up. And then of the shows, we like it at 80, right? We like it about 80% of the people that walk in the door signing up and becoming members of the school. So we're dropping, let's call it 15 to 20% each stage. So if 100 leads should definitely be turning into at minimum 50 sales. Yes? But
yeah, so we should have, the idea is like the final metric you look at, right, is like the lead to close ratio.
The close ratio is important. But you might be doing a really great job. And the reason we track these 4 stages, right, is you might be doing a really great job of selling, right? Everyone that shows up, you sell. But if of the 100 leads, if you're only getting 10 of them in there, then and you sell 10, that's just not right. And you think you have a leads problem, or you think you have a sales problem. You don't have a sales problem or a leads problem. You have a something else problem. You have a setting of an appointment problem. You have a confirming of an appointment problem. And if you're not tracking these,
you have a class problem.
You could have a class problem, right? It's not telling you what is going on, the whole picture. So first of all is the 4 stages. And then it's constant training, right? How do we approach our constant training, Ian?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is when you're, because a lot of people who are watching this are probably owners and GMs, like you have to have your detective hat on. Like you have to become a detective. I think this is something that like I'm always trying to encourage the GMs to do. It's like you need to diagnose problems, and to diagnose problems you need more information, and there's that saying, you don't make what you don't measure. So to your point about having all these different data points, it allows you to see where the issue is. Now the constant training,
he said that way better than me.
Well, you know,
yeah.
So but it's like, so with the constant training, and this is something that like, it's a mistake that like I made over and over, and still find myself even now knowing better making. It's you fix a problem or you address a problem, and then you walk away from it for too long, and you come back and the problem has resurfaced, and it's because entropy is, or it's like everything is being pulled apart all the time, just by, you know, there's new people in the position, people get complacent, you know, and so the retraining has to be something that is it's priced into, the entropy needs to be priced into the system, meaning that you know, you can't just expect because you did a really solid round of training for 2 or 3 months that it's going to just, you know, the quality is going to stay the same of the sale for the next year, because it will not. You will come back in several months and it'll have dipped. It may not have returned to its baseline, but it'll have definitely taken a dive. So
you and I were talking about this the other day. It's weird, like, because in jiu-jitsu, like once you have the armbar from close guard, let's say, I don't ever not have it again.
But say you did 100 reps every day before practice, you're going to hit more of those arm bars down the road.
Of course. Yeah. But what I'm saying, like, I don't practice my arm bars every day anymore, but I don't forget the steps. No. Like there's like, and the sales, it's just not like this, right? And I think sometimes what happens in our schools, in our jiu-jitsu schools, is we think about it like jiu-jitsu in this constant training piece of like, oh, I did this. I taught you how to knee slice. I taught you, right? And you have it now.
Yeah.
But in this piece, it's just not true.
I bet you and I could go into any program right now without selling for a long time and sell a membership to 99% of the people we talk to.
Yes.
But
it's
we're black belts in it.
And we love this.
And it's our life.
It's our life. Yeah. You have.
I'm not trying to counter this point, but I was thinking about this like. Anyway, I don't want to go into
No, you're right. But it's not your front desk person's life.
Yeah.
Right.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet anyway, right? It's probably not. The people that don't fuck it up, that don't need the sales training all the time, they have it, right? And they're not going to fuck it up. But they're very few and far between, right? Yeah. You have to remember in this almost back to the GWC here, the entry level employee that you're getting is like, which is what this is. they're probably, some of them turn out to be great GMs and work for us forever, but most of them turn over.
Yeah.
So you have to be training.
You have to be training. You know, I heard it put really well once. It's like everyone starts off, they're unconsciously incompetent.
Right.
Right. Like you don't even know what to do. Right. So, and then with a lot of training, you become consciously competent. Meaning if you're paying attention and you're really going in with like, you know, you're really focused, you can do the move correctly, you can sell a program correctly, but you always, the moment you stop paying attention and you stop really focusing, you kind of slide back into that incompetence. And what we're really trying to do through the continued training is to get to the point where we're unconsciously competent, where you don't have to think about. And that's what I think you're saying with an arm bar is if you drill it enough, you get good at it enough, well, you do get to the point where you're not even thinking about how to slap on a triangle. It's part of your second nature at this point. And we need to get selling that way.
Can you triangle, by the way? I know
at this point,
I can't triangle anymore from bottom.
No.
It hurts my back.
I seem to not be able to do much of anything. I actually go for the omoplata now. If anything,
I can't triangle.
What does he do if he doesn't have the triangle?
I don't know. Omoplatas, I guess.
I
haven't trained. I don't train McGee, so.
There's this random story that makes me
or I
think
hold
about,
guard and don't do anything.
That makes me think about this, and I think I don't know if it's illuminating for anybody else in the room, but maybe they can relate. There's this thing where, like, you know, we talk about brushing our teeth. We have to brush our teeth every day, or our teeth will go to shit, right? But there was this moment. I got kicked out of college. I was living in a garage in Florida, living a horrible life. But I was alone at like 20 years old with no support, just like trying to figure out what the hell to do with my life. And I remember like I went from like living at home to going to like a prep school to a college, getting kicked out, and then like, okay, I'm now alone in Florida in a garage is my house. And it was kind of nice. But I remember, even though I did chores as a kid, I always had to do stuff every weekend, mow the lawn. But it never clicked for me. And then this moment... I remember exactly what happened. I had this epiphany. I remembered I had to go grocery shopping, and then I was out of food. I'm like, I got to go grocery shopping again. And then I remember I cleaned my bathroom once at this shitty garage I lived in, and I remember like a few weeks later, my bathroom was dirty. I'm like, I got to do this again. Okay. And then a couple weeks passed. I was like, I got to do this again. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be cleaning the bathroom for the rest of my entire life, and like, or it'll just go to shit. Right. And it like made it clicked to me like I can't. Part of the things we do in our life, we have to keep doing them in order to maintain hygiene, right? And I look at this the same way. It's like keeping the front desk like hygienic, right? And all of it, right? That's just one piece of it, right? But we have to stay hygienic, especially as a business. But as parents too. But as parents, it's your fuck up, your mess. You only see yourself at home. But in business, like everybody sees that. Your employees, your members, your new members, your prospects, your owners, and like you have to keep the hygiene high. And the better hygiene you have, the more consistent you are, the better your business will run on its own.
When are my kids going to get this? Because, Dan, they fucking piss me off.
Well, boys, I don't think get it till they're like 28 because our frontal lobe is so slow to develop.
Yeah.
Like girls at like 3 are coming over. I babysit this 2-year-old. She is more, no offense, I love my son. She's more put together than my 8-year-old.
My when Kanan was young, he had it. He was great. It's just whenever this testosterone hit, it's like a nightmare. And then they look at me like, well, Dad, why are you getting so mad that I didn't do the dishes? And I'm like, dude, because we go over this every fucking day. Do the dishes. This. But this is the front desk, right? You have to go over it every day. It's hygiene. It's a great example. Let's get into this, what the training looks like. For us, it looks like role playing, right? We practice,
Part
right?
of it, yeah.
You know, that's a big piece of it. And in that role playing, look, let's be clear. We have videoed tutorials. We have written tutorials of exactly how to do this, right? Exactly how it is we like it. And I think one of the big things that we've done that really helps and helps our clients with Easton.Online is it's broken down into chunks, right? It's section 1, section 2, section 3. And we really break them down. Like the section 1 is I just did a call with somebody like, and I wanted to hear how they, how they answered their phone. And he thought he did a great job and he did a terrible job. He didn't do section 1. He didn't get my information. And so many people miss this. So, name, phone number, email. Make sure you have a lead. Section 2, building rapport, finding out why the person is coming into the school. Like this is a big piece. Because if they're coming into the school to learn how to fight in the fucking UFC and you're talking about weight loss and self-defense, you're missing them.
Yeah, this is where the nuance comes
This
in.
is
Like
where the
you have
nuance
to have
comes
the
in.
person there that has like some social understanding.
This is the capacity for it. This is the get it and capacity for it piece of GWC. And then finally in the setting the appointment piece. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And we do them each separately, and then we slowly put them together. Yes, Ian?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like teaching. It's like in jiu-jitsu. This is an easy analogy, but that's why you drill components of a technique.
Of the armbar, right? Just like teaching the armbar. You don't just say armbar, go.
Right, because there's a lot to it. You'll start confusing it. And like anything else, if you practice with bad habits, you will perform with bad habits. So, no, there's a lot. The role playing is really important. I think there's all kinds of things that you can do as, to help your team be successful. One thing I did want to say is it's really important to have accountability all the way through. Like as the GM, like
Explain this.
Well, if you're an owner or you're a GM, right, you need to start delegating some responsibility. Right. If you're having to do everything all the time because you're the best at it, and I think you should be the best at it, but you need to help other people be really good at it. So you can start, I think ultimately you want to get to a place where you're watching the machine, you're seeing all the different plates spinning. And when a plate starts to wobble, you can go and just sort of straighten it out, right? But if you can't spin all the plates yourself, right? So for example, if you have several people working the front desk, right? Ultimately, you want to start having someone who's sort of helping, who's going to do the training with the front desk. So at Easton, we have what's called a DFI, right? They sort of manage everyone at the front desk. And while the general manager or the owner, whoever you really need to understand this, right? If you don't understand how to sell, then your team will not understand how to sell.
They're not going to. You won't know when the plate is wobbling.
Right. You won't know when the plate is wobbling, and this is something that's critically important. So you really have to understand this. And I do think one thing that starts to happen, and I feel it myself, is when you stop selling for a long time, and then you're teaching your team to sell, right? And again, these can all go back to jiu-jitsu, right? If you stop selling for a long time and you're teaching your team how to sell, and then you need to every now and then get on the floor and sell so your team can watch you do it.
I think there's a piece here that's really important though. As we get older in jiu-jitsu, we can't be the ones that competing. So we have to develop people underneath us that can compete and kill it, right? Now, those people may move on to another school. So we have to have a line of people behind them or next to them that will take that position. Like in the old days, it used to be the person, the mat killer. Like you have them ready to go because you can't do it as you get older. The same is true at the front desk though. Like they're going to get better. And they're going to get better than you, right? The DFI, they should get better. They do it every day. And you know that and you can trust them. Mm-hmm. They're going to leave one day. But before they leave, if you do a really good job, they will make sure their whole team is as good as them. Mm-hmm. So when they step out, you don't have to step in. You'll step in a little bit to make sure the management side's understood. But their whole team is going to be so good, it is going to be easy to replace them. The same should be true about you. Like you should have enough people around you that if you fucking dip out, that you've at least have 4 or 5 people that could take your job because they understand it so well. So like it's just a fucking funnel. It's the same if we look at jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai on the mat, we should always have a few students that we know could take over our class. So on and so forth, right? That's how it needs to look so you don't have to get back on the mat. That being said, you should still be able to do it, right? If you pick it up in a minute. But that is really key to all of this. Development and stewardship.
No, it is. And that's kind of what I meant by the accountability at every level. Okay, yeah, that's what I meant with the accountability at every level. Like you have to but you have to make sure that you understand what you're doing, because if you kind of sort of understand it but not really, your team will sort of understand it but not really, and you'll sell way less programs.
The last piece that we've looked at, and we've just implemented this recently, is everyone does a good job in front of you. Like everyone's nice to me in the school. Like it doesn't matter where like I walk in, everyone's like, "Oh, Elliot." Right? Like they kiss our ass a little bit because of, our status, let's say, we're the owners. And they might just be absolute shitheads to other people, right? Like just absolute shitheads. Same thing that goes in the selling thing. They might do it really well in front of us, like in this role playing, in this training. But then when it comes to actually doing it, they like skip the steps, you don't see everything. So we've implemented this secret shopper thing. Right, where we have people coming in and just shopping.
Yeah, no, and this is a thing. Like we're at Easton, like we're lucky. We have 8 schools. We have the resources to do it. It's an expense, but it's worth it because essentially this is to battle entropy, right? Mike and I and you can't be at every school all the time. And yeah, everyone knows who we are, right? And it's just not scalable, right? But I will say if you have, so the point is it's having a way to monitor this regularly so you can catch mistakes, right? Because even if you're just observing, it's not, it doesn't do the same thing. So you can do this internally. If you have one school, you can just, pick 4 friends that you have outside the academy, tell them exactly what you want them to do, right? And what you're expecting, and then have them go to your school and do it once a quarter. But this is going to give you a lot of really good information. And if you have, a few shitty phone calls, right, or some not so great experiences, then you can really, it's just good information to use to work on. So yeah, I think the shopping thing is very cool. It's just a good way to have it's systematizing quality control.
Right. So that's it. Like that. That's the big chunk of how we keep our close ratios high. And let's just recap for the end here. 1, the person has to have the GWC. You have to get it, want it, and have the capacity for the job. I think in a previous podcast, the person we used was Chris Green. Mm-hmm. Love Easton, gets the core values, gets the job, wants a job, has zero capacity to sit down and do the fucking tasks for.
Now he's like a great airplane mechanic, so he found his role.
Yeah, he's great, right? He fixes shit. He's hands on. He is like with his hands. He is not. And he even became great for us when we moved capacity. It was a great job by Ian getting him out of the front desk role. So the person has to have GWC, and then it comes down to 1, making sure you can't fix what you don't measure. That's what Ian said, right? You can't fix what you don't measure. So you got to measure correctly. The 4 stages of a lead, we like to call it. And then it's just train, drill. So those are the big, and then test as in the secret shopper, right?
It all can be a freaking metaphor for jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai. So it's always the same.
I agree. Yeah, it's amazing. So that's it, guys. Thanks for the episode. As always, Easton.Online. Go hit us up. We have a ton of information on the website. If you're looking for help for your school, if you're under 100 members, we have our launch program, which we will help get you the way we launch our schools. Like when we started school, I think since like 2017 or 2018, we haven't opened, we're saying day 1 with less than 75 members. So we walk you through the 3 to 4 months of that program so that you get to 100 members quickly. So that's our first program. Our second program is our accelerator program. We like to call it our A to Z, how to run your school. A to Z, let's say about to like the 400 member mark or so. So we have those 2 programs. If you're looking for some help with them, you can DM me personally. You can hit us up at Easton.Online. We're here to help. That's Ian Lieberman. That's Mike Tousignant. Behind the camera is our boy, Mike Phipps. Let's go.